What if you could actually own your digital life, not just rent it? Well, that's the pretty radical promise of a new company called Amethyst Deterministic. They're trying to build a completely new kind of computing infrastructure, and in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what that means and why it just might matter.
I mean, think about it for a second. Your profiles, your content, all those followers you've spent years building up, do you really own any of it? Or are you just one algorithm change, one mistaken report, or one quiet policy update away from losing the whole thing? This is the fundamental question that Amethyst is trying to answer.
So to really get what Amethyst is building, we first have to understand their diagnosis of the problem, and they call it the Internet's broken promise.
This slide, man, this probably hits home for a lot of us, right? We've all been there. That favorite blog that just vanishes one day, an account getting suspended with no real explanation. And we are all constantly at the mercy of algorithms that basically control what we get to see. Emmett's whole argument is that this isn't an accident. It's a direct result of the fact that we don't own anything. We're just renting our little corners of the internet, and that lease can be terminated at any time.
And this right here, this is the absolute key to their entire philosophy. This isn't about pointing fingers and saying platforms are evil. It's about saying the very blueprint of the internet, the architecture itself, is built on a foundation of trust that has, let's be honest, kind of crumbled. So, okay, if the architecture is the problem, what's the new architecture? Amethyst's answer is a massive shift in thinking, moving from systems that are based on trust to systems that are based on, well, physics.
This slide just lays it all out so clearly. You see, instead of trusting a company to follow its own terms of service, which can change tomorrow, Amethyst's system is built on what they call inescapable rules. These rules are enforced automatically, like gravity. And that means you have irrevocable ownership of your digital stuff, not just revocable access that a corporation can grant or take away.
So how on earth do you build an internet based on physics? Well, the secret sauce is a concept called determinism. The easiest way to think about it is like a vending machine. You put in your dollar, you press button C4, you get your bag of chips. Every single time. There's no randomness, no room for interpretation. It's a mechanically provable result. That's the kind of predictable, provable system Amethyst is aiming for.
All right, so this all sounds great in theory, but how does this deterministic system actually work under the hood? It's all powered by a brand new kind of engine.
And this engine is called Pilgrim Core. This is what really separates Amethyst from pretty much everything else. See, it doesn't just watch for people breaking the rules and then punish them. It's built in a way that makes breaking the rules a literal impossibility to begin with.
So, just imagine you try to do something, like access a file that you don't have permission to see. In a normal system, you'd probably get a little access denied pop-up. In Amethyst's system, the entire process just stops. Cooled. There's no negotiation, no appeal. The rule is the rule, and Pilgrim Core enforces it automatically and absolutely by just halting execution. And this is the part that might be a little hard to wrap your head around. There is no backdoor. There is no admin account with special privileges. No allow anyway button, not even for the people who built Amethyst themselves. The rules are absolute. The physics are inescapable.
Okay, so an engine with unbreakable rules is interesting for sure, but what does it actually create for you, the user? This is where we get to the really exciting part, the idea of a sovereign digital presence.
So what does this sovereign digital presence actually look like? In the Amethyst system, it's called a Zeit. You can kind of think of it like your own private island on the internet. You own the land, you make the rules, and nobody can ever take it away from you.
And this slide just drives the difference home. With a Zeit, you're not at the mercy of a platform's constantly changing policies or its mysterious algorithm. Your reach isn't going to be throttled. Your presence isn't precarious. You're actually in control because you own the ground you're standing on.
Amethyst also has this really clever approach to identity. Picture this. You have one master key. That's your private identity capsule. Now, from that one master key, you can create a bunch of separate, unique keys for different parts of your life. One for work, one for your creative projects, maybe another one for browsing anonymously. The key here is that each one is cryptographically separate, meaning your work persona has absolutely no idea your creative persona even exists unless you explicitly decide to connect them.
Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. When you hear about new internet technologies and cryptography, a certain term probably pops into your head. But the folks at Amethyst are very, very clear that this is not what you might think it is.
Specifically, this is not Web3.
Now, while they both use cryptography, their core philosophies are just worlds apart. You can think of Amethyst like that vending machine we talked about. It's mechanical, predictable, and deterministic. Web3, on the other hand, is a lot more like a stock market. It relies on social consensus, financial incentives, and really complex rules to work. Amethyst isn't trying to build a new economy, it's trying to build a new physics. And this line just perfectly captures that difference. One system tries to make it profitable for you to be honest. The other system is designed to make being dishonest a technical impossibility. It's a huge difference in approach.
So how do you get your own ZEIT? Well, this is pretty cool. Amethyst is clearly committed to making digital sovereignty a basic right, not some luxury good. That's why they offer a free tier that gives absolutely everyone their own ZEIT, with the full unbreakable protection of Pilgrim Core.
And this is a really critical point to understand. In the Amethyst system, you can't buy your way to more ownership or more rights. Paying gets you more capacity, more tools, more scale. But your fundamental rights are exactly the same whether you're a free user or a massive enterprise customer. Ownership is just a fact of the physics, not a feature on an invoice.
So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway here? Amethyst is trying to fundamentally change our entire relationship with the internet. They're trying to move us from a world where we're basically digital tenants to a world where we can actually be digital owners. It is a huge, bold, and ambitious vision, and it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see if they can pull it off. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.